Okay, so we're going to talk about kilowatt hour, right? What the heck is this? Well, 1 kilowatt hour is equivalent to 1,000 watts, right? So for you to kind of get an idea of this, you can look at your bill, right? This is a horrible drawing of the bill. And you'll see a number, a big 3-digit number, and it'll say 500 or some sort. And it'll be 500 kilowatt hours, right? Sometimes they'll say 200, but anything above 200, I would say, is probably the monthly. Your total monthly, right? We're looking at total monthly. This is kilowatt hour. That's how you find it on your electric bill. You already know what that is, right? I just explained this to you. Now, here's why it's important. This hour part is very important. It's what makes the power turn into energy. Okay? I have my dog in the background. That's a lot of energy there. So you have power and then you have energy. So this refrigerator uses 1,000 watts. Now you're using this. Now the energy it's using is 1 kilowatt an hour. The way we find that out is 1,000 watts converted to a kilo. It's one. That means it's using 1,000 or 1 watts every single hour. Every hour, right? Now that you got that down, where do you find this stuff? Okay, well, we look at the bill here. Okay. In this bill, you'll find here where there's an electric delivery charge. If you see that, they give you your total right here. Oh, okay, 256 kilowatt hours. Now, you're getting for that total, you're getting charged delivery and generation. So you have to add both of these up to figure that out. Once you add this up, right? Then you find the total. What is that? What is that? 8, 9, 10. So we're like 105, right? Then you have the total, which is 105, and you divide that by this number, and you get how much you're getting charged for electricity. Okay? This is cents per kilowatt hour. So you'll see like a point something something. That'll give you your average. You can do that math on your own time to figure out this rate. Okay, now let's go back here. These are different rates for electricity, just to give you like examples here. Now you have to find your average because this tends to be your habit. You know, you come home at 5 o'clock, you use your electricity around that time, yada, yada, yada. So you can actually figure out your monthly daily average just by doing this. This was in 2019, by the way. So the rates have gone up. It is 2023. I think this is up to like 64 now, or this is. I don't know. I'll show you that later. That's more in our consultation. Now that you understand that, we got to look at bills, right? So let's look at all the bills that we have here. That's more battery. Yep, they're not here. Okay, cool. Now you know how to find your kilowatt hour. That's all we needed. Now we're going to turn this into a battery lesson. How is this important? Okay, well, in battery, you have power, right? You have energy. Okay, now with battery, you have continuous energy, right? Continuous energy. And we're going to learn what that is. Why is all this important? You have a battery that's a 10 kW battery size. This is how much power it could use, right? Now, your energy, you would assume, is 10 kWh, right? You're like, okay, well, if this is your power, this is how much you can continually give. Well, that's not the case. Because there's so many factors that plays into it, you actually have to figure out the voltage. Do you care about that? No, this is more technical terms. But 120, 240 volts. If it's 120, you get like 50 amps of power. 240, it's like 37 point something, right? Amps. Okay. What does this mean? Well, there's things in the kitchen that you want on, right? Like your refrigerator and things like that, that run off of a 240 volt. So this is going to take a little bit more power in amps, which is what you get from power, for you to be able to have things going. Now, there is a limit on how much continuous energy, which is what energy is really, your system or your battery can provide to your appliances. We can find these answers here. Okay. You'll find one right here that says continuous. Let's kind of highlight that. Continuous, right? 12 kW, continuous power. You'll find more here. Continuous. You'll find another one. Continuous, right? These are different. Now, here's a weird one. Here, they kind of shortened it, and they turned it to IC or OFC. See that? Do you see how weird that is? You see the 15 is right here, but they're talking about 6.2 amps. Okay, that doesn't make sense. So let's just pretend they're all 240. So their continuous power is really 9 watts, right? Because it's based off of your voltage. This is the same thing too. I hate it when they're generic because they're not telling you your voltage here. But that's okay. This could be generic, it's fine. So you know that continuous of these two companies, right, that make these batteries are 6.8, 3.8, right? We're good on that. Peak power. Now we're going to talk about peak power. What the heck is peak power? Well, peak power is important. So if we look at peak, usually what happens is you have an appliance. Whenever you start something up, you got to see how much power it takes to start something up. Okay, so to have like your washer rolling and going, it might, when you turn on the button, it might jump up to 500 watts. And then it'll go down after it starts running. Goes down to like 300 watts. Horrible writing, by the way. 300 watts of power. What does this mean? Sometimes your systems end up pushing more, I guess, kilowatt hours. These are circuits and all that to get your appliances to start. It's just like your car. When you start your car, it uses more power to start it than to just leave it on and leave it running. So this is called peak power. Very important to find here. So you look here and you're like, okay, so these guys' peak power is 8.5. This one is 5.7. Excuse me. 5.7. Say, okay, so this is 5.7. What does that mean? You're like, okay, that means it could only do 5,700 watts. That's like 5 refrigerators, right? 5 refrigerators here. Here, there's more like 8 refrigerators. Remember, every 1,000 watts is 1 kilowatt power. Okay. Now that you know that, you're like, okay, what about this other company? You have this other company. I couldn't find their peak power. I was like going crazy here trying to find what the heck is your peak power. So it doesn't show here, which is unfortunate. But I did find it down here. And their peak power is, let's highlight it in a different color, 15 kW. Great. Peak power is 15 kW. So that means you can have some crazy high-tech stuff. Never have to worry about your appliances ever disrupting. Right? So each battery, it's according to someone's needs. Not everyone has a certain type of battery. What could tend to happen is, let's say you buy one of these batteries, right? And you end up needing, instead of 3 components, it'll be like 4 components, and you need like an extra weird small little battery, and then they can actually help you with your system package or whatever. So all this stuff matters. On continuous power, you can just add another battery, but that gets really expensive. So sometimes having small little units would work. It makes things energy efficient, cheaper. Here you could just have one big nice little one big battery that has like high continuous, high peak, never have to worry about it. You just add that on there. So this is very important when it comes to shopping around for batteries. That is it for the lesson. Bear with me and the dog. But that is it for kilowatts, your bill, and batteries.